Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and unravel a massive medical mystery. We're looking at the chronic pain paradox today. So, why exactly does chronic pain stick around long after the body has completely healed? Well, a groundbreaking shift in neuroscience is actually showing us how to cure it, not just manage it. We're starting with a statistic that's honestly staggering. It turns everything we thought we knew upside down. Scientists now estimate that up to 90%, 90% of chronic back pain is actually neuroplastic, meaning it's generated entirely by the brain. There's no ongoing physical injury in your back. Let that sink in for a second. 90%. It completely changes the game of how we look at chronic conditions. Now, before we go any further, I absolutely have to clarify something crucial. When we say brain-generated, it does not mean imaginary. No way. The pain you are feeling is 100% real, and it is agonizing. All pain is real, and all pain is created in the brain. Your pain isn't all in your head in some dismissive, insulting way. It's just that its origin story is totally different than what we traditionally thought. So, what exactly is neuroplastic pain anyway? You might also hear it called primary pain. Basically, it's a learned response. Your brain's predictive processing model gets kind of stuck in this hyperprotective mode. It's generating pain because of an inaccurate or overactive perception of a threat, even though there's no actual physical injury happening. Essentially, your brain is trying really hard to protect you, but it's making a mistake. And the core difference between the two really comes down to the source. Structural pain, that's a bottom-up process. It's driven by actual tissue damage, like, a broken bone or a nasty burn. It's a totally valid, necessary warning system. But neuroplastic pain is a top-down, brain-generated process. It's literally a false alarm. There's zero physical danger in your body, but the brain just keeps blasting that pain signal anyway. To really wrap your head around this, think of your nervous system like a super high-tech, hypersensitive home security system, right? It was installed to keep you safe, but it got a little too good at its job. Instead of only going off when a burglar smashes a window, it's now stuck on high alert. It's blaring these deafening sirens just because a harmless shadow crossed the lawn or a breeze rattled the glass. The alarm is screaming, but the house is completely safe. And what's truly mind-blowing here is the actual neuroscience behind that false alarm. When researchers look at fMRI scans, they can see that as pain becomes chronic, it literally shifts its location in the brain. It moves out of the sensory regions, like the insula, which handles physical input, and relocates right into emotional and memory centers, like the amygdala. Your brain is quite literally learning the chronic pain. How wild is that? Which brings us to probably the most important question for anyone watching this who is suffering. How do you actually know if your pain is a structural injury or one of these neuroplastic false alarms? Because here's the kicker. They feel absolutely identical. We can't just rely on the sensation itself. We have to look at how the pain behaves. To figure this out, doctors play detective using something called the shift criteria. That stands for sensitized, historical, inconsistent, functional, and triggered. Basically, these criteria help flag pain that's acting, a bit suspiciously, contrary to a normal physical injury. Like neuroplastic pain often moves around the body unpredictably, or it doesn't have a clear physical cause, or maybe it gets triggered by stress instead of, say, bending over or lifting something heavy. Clinicians actually use tools like the NoCQ survey to spot these exact patterns. As patients go through it, they start realizing, wait a minute, my pain spreads all over the place unpredictably, or it shifts locations from day to day, or even it flares up intensely just when I feel angry or worried. If your physical pain gets noticeably worse just by thinking about a stressful situation, that is a massive red flag that your brain's threat assessment is the one pulling the levers. So we have to ask ourselves, why is the brain doing this in the first place? Is it just a glitchy false alarm about an old injury that's already healed? Or is it a life message alarm? See, sometimes pain is the brain's clever way of masking unprocessed emotions or life stressors. If something in our life feels unsafe or just wrong, and we aren't dealing with it, our nervous system might actually generate physical pain just to force us to pay attention. Think of your body like a boiling teapot sitting on a hot stove. Inside that teapot, you've got past trauma, daily hassles, strong emotions, and they're all building up heat and pressure. But if you've tightly clamped down a lid labeled avoidance, just toughing it out or ignoring your feelings, that pressure has to escape somewhere, right? So it escapes as physical pain. The pain is quite literally the steam of an overloaded nervous system. But here is the incredible good news, the real turning point. If the brain can learn this pain, it can absolutely unlearn it. Enter pain reprocessing therapy, or PRT. PRT is a psychological, neuroscience-based treatment that retrains the brain to interpret these signals as safe again. Think of it as a set of neurological wire cutters. It diffuses those false alarms, turns down the heat on that teapot, and can reverse the pain entirely. PRT isn't just guesswork. It's a very structured step-by-step approach that goes right after the root cause. It transforms your fear of the pain into a deep, profound sense of safety. It kicks off with education, so you truly understand your body isn't broken. Then it moves into cognitive reappraisal to shift your core beliefs. Next is somatic tracking, then gradual exposure to things you've been avoiding, and finally emotional processing to actually deal with those underlying life stressors. Now, the absolute core of PRT, the place where the real rewiring happens, is a technique called somatic tracking. This is where you gently notice the pain sensations in your body, but you do it through a lens of curiosity and safety. You aren't trying to fix it, you aren't forcing it away. By just observing your pain with curiosity instead of sheer terror, you are actively proving to your brain, in real time, that the sensation isn't dangerous at all. Because remember, threat is the fuel that makes neuroplastic pain burn out of control. So cultivating a feeling of safety, that's the antidote. When you react to your pain with fear, frustration, and bracing, you might as well be throwing gasoline on a fire. But when you adopt a safety-based response, practicing relaxation and what we call outcome independence, which means you genuinely don't care if the pain stays or goes in that exact moment, you literally put out the fire in your brain. And if you're wondering if there's data to back this up, the medical proof is undeniable. There was a major trial published in JAMA Psychiatry known as the Boulder Back Pain Study. The results were mind-blowing. A staggering 2/3 of PRT participants became completely pain-free, or nearly pain-free. They massively outperformed people getting traditional care or placebo injections. And the best part, those amazing results were sustained a full year later. To kind of pull all this together, you can picture neuroplastic pain like carrying around a massive, heavy military rucksack. You've been lugging this pack around, filled with the weight of past stress, fear, and constant bracing for so long that your body literally forgot how to relax. It just stays tense, expecting a threat that simply isn't there anymore. But PRT, it teaches your nervous system how to finally loosen those straps. It tells your brain, hey, the march is over. You are safe now. What we are witnessing right now is a radical paradigm shift in modern medicine. For decades, the traditional medical model told chronic pain patients they just had to adapt to a life sentence of pain management, basically just coping with the inevitable. But now, armed with the hard science of neuroplasticity, we are moving entirely away from just managing pain, and we're stepping fully into the reality of pain recovery. Your pain doesn't have to be permanent. It is a completely reversible brain process. So, as you realize that your brain actually has the remarkable power to heal itself simply by establishing a sense of safety, I want to leave you with one final thought. Chronic pain often shapes the entire story we tell about our future. But you know what? You get to write the next chapter. Ask yourself, what joy will you chase? And what will your life actually look like when you finally put that heavy rucksack down for good?